Hey guys, it's a steaming pile of ship here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Kaga, the new Tier 7 premium Japanese aircraft carrier. Finally, Japan gets its own Tier 7 carrier that can help you train up a nice captain that'll be actually useful on ships that are carriers and not be useless in terms of skills when you try and put it on a different premium. Now, I'm going to throw out there right now that we have Tier 8 matchmaking, and that normally, in many carriers, having one tier higher isn't all that bad, especially when there's no other carriers in the game. Like, it's doable. But the Kaga is different in the fact that it has a lot of planes. You'll notice I've got two squadrons of fighters with 5 planes each, two squadrons of torpedo bombers with 6 planes each, and one dive bomber squadron with 7 planes. And in reserve, I have 18 fighters, 7 dive bombers, and 31 torpedo bombers. So you have a lot of planes, but it's compensated for having really weak planes. They're tier 6 planes, and so even basically what I'm trying to say is these planes really suffer when you're up tiered, even just by one tier. Now we spot a Gaida when we're trying to bring our planes over towards these bombers. I don't want to get too far away from my own bombers because I know that he's probably going to try and kill them off, and I don't want to leave him undefended. So we're going to maybe set up a strafe, but well, it looks like we both had the idea to strafe, so that's unfortunate. He's going to strafe with the lefternmost, with his left squadron there, so I'm going to try and strafe out of this, but I think it just wouldn't work for me. Sometimes when you try and strafe out, it doesn't. Anyways, while he's preoccupied, I have been trying to move my torpedo bombers in to attack the Gaida, and I also have designated him for the dive bombers. And one of the things I hate about carrier replays that I only learned today, if you're seeing this replay, there's a chance that you've already seen a Saipan replay, and there's a chance that that replay also could be the next video, depending on which one of these I upload first. By the way, we started a fire on that Gaida, and then he immediately repaired it, and then we hit him with a torp, so he's flooding right now inside his smoke. But basically, if you haven't already seen the Saipan video, I apologize, but I did not know when recording getting the replays that I should have had the game recording in real time so that you could see where I was clicking. So unfortunately, we're not going to actually see exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to have to pretty much do my best to narrate what's going on. The guy is still flooding, so I've told my team that he might flood to death inside of the smoke screen, and speak of the devil, he just managed to do that. So that's really handy for our Hatsuharu there, who's not going to have to fight against him, especially because he is definitely spotted by whatever bombers, those torpedo bombers and the dive bombers right there. Although they seem to be ignoring him. Now, having had my fighters all shot down, I am sending them over to try and intercept, but these being tier 6 planes, they're very, very slow, and you can definitely feel how painful that is, especially when you get put up against ships like the Saipan, which has those really fast tier 9 fighters. The Saipan is probably the best straight-up counter to the Kaga, which is really annoying because it's already a very, very powerful, if not overpowered carrier. And what sucks about the Saipan particularly is that it's premium, which means it's most likely never going to get nerfed unless there's a global change. It looks like the North Carolina just managed to dodge those torpedo bombers. I'm going to try and strafe this fighter squad with Squad 3. I thought I was going to miss, so I also sent 2 to strafe above, but he doubled him back into the firing path of Squad 3, so we did manage to take him down, although we lost a little bit of ammo that we didn't need to on Squad 2. We are sending our bombers. They have just rearmed and they're now ready to take off, so we're going to send those towards the middle of the map here, which unfortunately doesn't seem to be showing the actual islands in the minimap, so that's a little bit annoying. At least you can see the ships and whatnot. But we are going to try and hopefully go and spot the enemy Kaga with our fighters. Now, I do notice that he has a fighter squadron there, and I was going to move him back in there, but I didn't really want to get any closer to that North Carolina's AA bubble than I needed to, so as soon as I saw him going towards it, I pretty much scrambled him back towards where I figured the Kaga will be. And since a Kaga has a fairly large detection radius, the only real area he can be is further back right in there. So I basically framed him in the with the map, if that makes sense to you. I basically sent my fighters to an area of the map where they would pretty much automatically spot him. We are sending the bombers in towards the middle of the map, considering now that the North Carolina is dead, they're safe, and we're going to try and hopefully shoot down some of these torpedo bombers with our fighters. He might be bringing his fighters back too, though, so that's a little bit unfortunate. If he does, we're gonna... Yep, he's bringing them back. I kind of expected it, but, you know. Let's try and get Squadron 3 a little bit away and then strafe. Oh, he caught him before they could strafe, but we are going to strafe with Squad 2 and strafe out of the lock with Squad 3. And we do manage to shoot down a full squadron with Squad 2, so good job, Squad 2. One thing though, Squad 2 is low on ammo, so if Squad 2 runs out of ammo, we might lose the fighter battle right there, but hopefully we'll be able to stave him off just long enough that I'm able to kill the carrier with my torpedo bombers and the dive bomber. Now the Kaga has a very huge advantage when attacking with the torpedo bombers in the fact that they are 6-plane squadrons versus the typical 4-plane squadrons of IJN carriers. At least I believe they're 4 planes normally. Again, I'm new to carriers, so yeah. We cause one flooding with the torpedo bombers. We do get a fire, and we're trying to line up perfectly so that I can kill him with this this second torpedo bomber squadron. But I do notice he's got fighters, so I basically need to make this happen now, or else he'll probably just strafe my torpedo bombers to death and live to tell another tale. Live to tell? That doesn't make sense. He'll live another day. He'll live... You know what? I'm going to just cut my losses while I haven't dug myself any deeper. We do take him out. Moving on. We take him out, and I should have been looking a little bit closer. I was trying to check something at that time, and I pretty much bring this poor squad fighter, Squadron number 5, right over that Bismarck, and he didn't have many planes left in that squadron, so the Bismarck just mopped him up, and unfortunately that means I'm going to have to wait for the full reload of that entire squadron, which is quite annoying. Luckily, though, we do have all of these extra reserve torpedo bombers, so whereas if I lost a full, squadron on a Saipan or on a Hiryu, you'd really start to feel it. It's not quite as bad when you are in the Kaga. Of course, it's still, again, like I say, the Saipan, a huge bane of this ship, but any sort of strong AA forces or, areas where you just can't penetrate with your planes because they're too weak, really make this a very frustrating ship to play. Now, I've already moved my fighters over towards the Amagi and the Bismarck for 2 reasons. One, we have a Cyclone coming in, and this Leander is soon going to be the only thing spotting the Amagi. The other reason is I want to have the fighters close to him in case he pops a scout plane, because when I send my bombers in, I don't want that scout plane or the scout fighter to be able to shoot, or not shoot down, well, shoot down, yes, that too, but I don't want him to be scattering my planes by using the little scout fighter. And there's one right there, so we're going to hopefully send that over to attack it and shoot it down. And he won't have that back by the time I have my torpedo bombers there, so that'll be handy. He is about to kill this Leander, though. He just got within the auto-detect range, and he finishes him off very easily. Now, I want to bring the fighters away from the Amagi and hopefully go spot that Bismarck, because the first torpedo bomber squadron is close enough that I don't really need to worry as much. And he's about to enter the smoke, so I'm going to manual drop in front of him. Hopefully we'll be able to get a few hits, although I need to do it now before I don't have anywhere to see him. And we are going to keep Squad 5 and Squad 6, that's the dive bomber and the torpedo bomber squads, back a little bit. We did land 4 hits on him. The Kaga does seem to suffer when it comes to getting flooding damage. That's a little bit... that's something I have noticed, especially when attacking battleships. It's much harder to get floods. The Yamagi should be sliding out of this this smoke, and it might be fading anyways soon. Looks like it is. And we're going to try and get this Amagi on fire with the dive bomber squadrons. And I was only one. It looks like he's not repaired it yet. I don't want to use the... I want to hopefully use Squadron 5 on this Bismarck, though. So we're going to take a chance and drop on the Bismarck since we're already over here. And these planes can't stay up here very long or else they'll just get shot down before they're of any use. And unfortunately, he did turn in. And we only land with no floods, 1 torpedo. But our friendly Amagi kills the enemy Amagi. So it was a good thing that we went for the Bismarck. We were able to do some more damage. Bringing Squadron 2, that's my fighters, back in to hopefully spot the Bismarck again. And be able again to shoot down any... shoot down any scout fighters. Don't know what I couldn't think of the words, but immediately we lose 3 of the planes from Squadron 2, so I don't really want to linger them here too much. I'm going to try and pull them back just a bit so that they have them, or I have them ready in the event. Okay, maybe I'm not going to? I thought I did. Come on. Alright, there they go. Well, too late. We do have Squadron 3 right here. I wanted to basically, hopefully have him there again so that if he launches a scout fighter, wow, words are hard, guys. If he launches a scout fighter, we're going to hopefully shoot it down so that he's not going to scatter our planes again. I am waiting a little bit more, though, until I have Squadron 4 close enough. And now we're going to move Squadron 3 back in there to help spot the Bismarck and shoot down any planes. And Squadron 4 is nice and broadside to him. Immediately you see we lose a plane, and sometimes that can be chalked up to bad RNG, but it's really annoying. I'm having a little bit of trouble lining up the perfect drop, and again, that's one of the things... You really have to be used to dropping with manual drops, because if you're not used to it and you keep trying to line it up like I did right there, it's very, very difficult to really keep them. And he just repaired that flood, so I'm going to send in Squad 6 now. And Squad 5 is on the way as well. But you can't linger above enemy anti-aircraft with the Kaga's planes. They just don't have the hit points. You have to be ready to drop. You have to be prepared to do that. That way, you immediately can immediately, and I don't want to wait for this guy to repair. I'm going to try and take him out with Squad 5. But if you wait till they're, have that perfect lineup, you're never going to have enough planes to hit. I mean, right there, I was fairly quick on that, and automatically, he shot down 2 of those planes. So yeah. Squad 4, we are going to send it towards the Atago's he's spotted right now, I believe, but I can't see him. We're going to send it towards him, and hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit more damage in this, into this game, but unfortunately, it is getting close to the end of it. We are running close to 1,000 points, so yeah. Oh, by the way, you see me in A. There's that island right there that I've been behind for a while, and I wanted to point that out because the closer you are in the Kaga, because these ships are very, very slow, or the planes are very slow, the closer you can be to your team safely, the better off you are, again, because of how slow the planes are. So, keeping that in mind, positioning is important with this ship. It's not as important, I think, in the Saipan as it is in the Kaga, because the Kaga is a slower ship, so you got to be in an area where you can easily escape, while at the same time still render help to your team if you need it. So yeah. And we're basically sending our squadrons towards the Atago's last known location. Again, we want to try and kill him. And unfortunately, we have no fighters left to take down that fighter, so it looks like we're going to have to deal with probably a little bit of scatter, especially if he has his anti-aircraft up, but his defensive fire. But I think if he did, we would have lost a lot of planes already. And unfortunately, here's where I kind of mess up. I thought he was going to go that way and speed up, but he actually goes in the opposite direction. And I tried to manual drop there, and I hit him, but it doesn't start a fire. So that was rather annoying. And unfortunately, this Atago, it looks like he is going to end up surviving, and you can see me very frustrated, kind of spinning around. But it wasn't a bad game in the end. So considering I'm not very good at carriers, I was pretty happy with the way this game ended up turning out. It wasn't, a hugely suspenseful game, but it turned out where we finally got a victory. I'd been kind of playing this ship, I think 5 games in a row, all losses. So this is the first win that I've gotten in this ship. I did 128,000 damage with 16 torpedo hits and 11 dive bomber hits. Worth noting, 5 fires, only 7 floodings, so even it was less than 50% chance of flooding with these torpedo hits, so that's a little bit annoying. It seems like it takes a little bit more skill to get actual floods with the Kaga, but remembering that it does have 6 torpedo bombers per squad, when you remember that, you do a lot of damage with the torpedoes themselves. So that's handy. We shot down 19 planes. Again, shooting down planes is not the Kaga's strong point because the fighters are tier 6. They're also Japanese tier 6, so they're not even like Independence tier 6 fighters. So they're very, very weak, and when you get put against ships like the Saipan, this Kaga really does suffer. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about picking it up. And we did manage to kill 3 ships, including the enemy Kaga. Moving on, we were second on the team. The only achievement we got was First Blood. Again, not a hugely eventful game. We got 1,674 base experience, so I'm happy with that in a carrier any day because I'm not very good at carriers. And finally, again, damage caused 128,000. With the aircraft, we did 91,000, and a good portion of that was the torpedo bombers with 82,000. 9,000 was done by the dive bombers, and fires did 21,000, and despite not having as many floodings, we did do 16,000 with the floodings. So that was handy. Aircraft lost 28 fighters, 10 dive bombers, and 26 torpedo bombers, and 64 in total, and the ship has, I believe, 85 in total. So I got fairly close to actually running out of planes, and it's definitely something that you can do when you're either up-tiered or against a lot of hard-to-hit targets due to the anti-aircraft bubbles, or when you have enemy, air superiority build, Saipans, Rangers, that type of thing. Finally, credits earned, or credits and XP earned, we got 300,000 credits, as well as 189 free experience and 3,767 ship experience. And commander experience, I think I have the dragon flag on. I do. So the commander experience was 12,000, but yeah. And I think it's time we go to the build. So moving on to the build, I will go ahead and mention that I am not a carrier pro, so take this all with a grain of salt. But anyways, starting off, we'll go to the consumables. Since you're tier 7, you only get the repair party, or the damage control party. You're going to want the premium version of that. You're a premium carrier, so you'll be able to make it back very, very easily. But B, if you ever find yourself being run down by one of those pesky destroyers, it'll be really beneficial to have a quicker repair party, damage control party, in the event he sets you on fire a couple times. Moving on to the modules, you do have 2 different flight controls, and one of them is the first one you get. You get 1 squadron of fighters, 1 squadron of torpedo bombers, and 3 dive bomber squadrons. And I really don't like this one because I feel like the torpedo bombers are where it's at in terms of getting damage dealt. And then also, you only get 1 fighter squad, so that really makes it difficult to defend your already really weak planes when you run up against Saipans. So I use the Type 7 Mod 2 here, which gives you 2 fighters, 2 torp bombers, and 1 dive bomber squad. Worth noting, the bombers themselves are kind of unique. The dive bombers have a ridiculously pinpoint accuracy when they aren't scattered, and this makes it it's almost easy to, if you get really good, I can see it being easy to literally drop this on certain parts of a destroyer and being able to knock out engines and literally get almost every bomb to land on a destroyer. Like, they're really accurate. Unfortunately, because it was a replay file, I couldn't exactly show you the little circle, so I guess I'll know next time I make a carrier video if that, or I'll know to be already recording when I play the match for carrier videos. Anyways, the torpedo bombers, they have a weird thing too, where they drop in staggered echelons. So it's got 3 torpedo bombers in the front and 3 in the back of the little, like, formation. And the front 3 will drop the torpedoes a little bit wide, and the rear 3 will drop them closer. And so it makes it really weird to try and dodge these, because you kind of have a second wave almost, and they're very helpful for killing destroyers, I find, because so far destroyers just don't really know what to do with it. So that's kind of fun. And they're also very fast torpedoes too. I think the fastest airdrop torpedoes in the game at, let's see, 48 knots. And that's without, you could get the little skill that makes them even quicker. So if you want to do that, okay. I'm probably not going to do that yet because I'm not very good at this game yet. So, well, actually, that might be a reason to do it. Okay, anyways, moving on. Again, not very good at carriers, so keep this, take this with a grain of salt. But Air Groups Mod 1 is the first slot that I've got, and that'll help out your fighters and whatnot a little bit to kind of bridge the gap between when you run up against a Saipan. It's rough, so having a little bit more oomph is handy. In the second slot, Air Groups Mod 2, this is again going to help your fighters out, and I'm pretty sure Saipans run with this anyways, so you may as well have this to at least kind of mitigate the fact that the Saipan does, although since this is percentage-wise, the Saipan still has the huge advantage here. Damage Control System Mod 1 in the third slot, because if you lose your propulsion or your steering gears, you're probably going to have to repair anyways, because you're flooding or whatnot. And finally, you're going to want Damage Control System Modification 2 in the fourth slot. I think I saw someone using steering gears, and to me, I'd rather just have, I feel like I'm going to eat torpedoes or whatever already, so especially with a 1080 meter turning circle radius, I feel like you're already going to be eating them. So with almost 30 seconds, or excuse me, almost 15 seconds, I was reading the wrong one, and such a low speed of 28 knots, you're not going to dodge much. So just have the Damage Control System Mod 2 that will help put fires out a little bit quicker. Let's go to the captain finally. In the first row, I would recommend getting Aircraft Servicing Expert and then going on to Expert Rear Gunner. And after that, you're going to want Emergency Takeoff, and that'll make it so you can take off and recover planes whenever you're on fire still, with a penalty, similar to how Last Stand works. And then you're going to want Air Supremacy to give you that extra fighter in each squad, an extra dive bomber in each squad. Then I would go back for Dogfighting Expert. I've thought about running this evasive maneuver, but I don't think it's going to be very good because these planes are ridiculously slow already. They're not going to be able to outrun Saipan planes, so this isn't going to help them out. And then after, I would go with Concealment Expert too, eventually down the line, because of how you are such this huge ship. You're very easy to spot. And let's look real quick. Your concealment is 12.2 kilometers and then 13.6 by air. So it's very easy to spot you. So I would get concealment to help mitigate that a bunch, especially since you can't actually get the concealment module. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for me here today. I will say if I haven't already put the Saipan video up, it will be next. And if I have already put it up, you'll know what I'm about to say. But essentially, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to be able to keep up the one video a week thing that I've got going on, or that I've tried to have going on. The main reason behind that right now, I do not have very good internet, and it makes it very hard to even play the game sometimes. So we will see if I'm able to. Um, we'll see if I'm able to get enough games to actually make the videos. So hopefully I'll be able to, over the summer, keep up this sort of one a week deal. I do have several replays that are from this patch that I will record, and I'll be most likely uploading them anyways, even though at the time of the recording of this, the tomorrow the game updates. So once I get those all recorded, I'll have at least something that I can throw up if I don't get any new replays in 0.6.6. So anyways, that's going to do it for me, guys. This is a steaming pile of shit signing off. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching.